So the finals is honestly so much fun. I was hooked on this game from the open beta back in October, and now that it is actually here to play forever, I think I'm enjoying it even more, to be honest. But I do always like to try and give some constructive feedback, especially on a new game like this. So today we're going over a couple of changes I really hope to see for the finals at some point down the line. Before we get into it, if you are interested in more finals content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more content on the way. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. Now, the first thing I just need to get off my chest here is that I'm not here to have a sook. I'm not making this video saying, oh, this game sucks, everything sucks, they should change the whole thing. That is not the point of this video. I think this game is genuinely like a 9 out of 10 for me right now. I'm absolutely loving it, and I think it has crazy potential in the FPS genre. So, like I said, I'm not here to have a sook about the game. I am just making this to kind of give some genuine feedback, and I'm kind of making this in the hopes that a dev might see it and pass some of this feedback onto the team, and then they can at least contemplate adding or changing some of these things I'm about to mention. Now, a lot of the things in this video are more on the nitpicky side, and that goes to show how good the game actually is right now. But this first one on the list, this is not a nitpick. This is essentially a need if this game is going to have a long lifespan. My biggest issue with the game right now is the fact that there are only 3 servers, those being the Asian servers, the European servers, and the North American servers. Now, if you're in those regions, I'm sure you probably haven't even noticed this, but for me, being outside of those regions, this is actually a very big detriment to the game in the fact that pretty much every single game I'm in, I'm on 100 ping minimum, and in a competitive and relatively sweaty game like this, that is not very fun at all. Now, to be fair, towards the end of the open beta, they did actually test a few other servers, and I believe one of them was the Oceania server, which is obviously where Australia kind of falls in place. And so if they bring them back eventually, which I'm going to assume they will, considering they were planning and testing that out in the beta, then obviously that is a fix. I'm going to assume that this is the type of thing they're going to be fixing. So I'm not completely sitting here shitting myself thinking, oh, this game's never going to get more servers. I think it will eventually. It is a kind of odd choice to not have them at launch, to be honest, but either way, I thought this was worth mentioning because that's the only thing that does have me slightly concerned. Why are they not here at launch? And even though they did test them, that is slightly concerning. So this is the one thing, I think this is the single thing in this game that I genuinely think is like borderline game breaking for me, at least not right now, but in 3 months from now, I may be sick of playing on 100 ping. And so that is something I really hope that they add, and probably sooner rather than later. The last thing on this point is that I would also love to be able to see our ping in-game. We actually cannot see it. The only reason I say I'm playing on 100 ping is because I can feel it. I've played a lot of shooters for 15 to 16 years now, and I can very obviously tell when I'm on a very high ping. So I would love to be able to actually see that in-game just to get a bit of a feel for what I'm up against. If it's 200 ping in a lobby, then I'm probably going to back out and try and find another one. So that is something I would love to see added as well. Now, the next thing on the list here is to do with some of the elemental damage, and this is mostly to do with the poison damage. I really think they should tone that down quite a bit. If someone throws one of those poison canisters, for example, and it blows up anywhere near you, especially if you're playing the light class, because obviously they have a lot less health, those things act like a freaking nuke at times, and it feels like you cannot actually get out of the area fast enough, and that's almost like a one-hit kill at times. And so I do think they really need to tone that down. The fire doesn't seem as bad, so it seems as though this is just strictly related to the poison canisters. So if they could just get it more in line with the fire, I think that would be perfectly fine. But yeah, I've definitely noticed that anytime someone throws them on an objective that I'm defending, I'm pretty much dead straight away if I'm playing as the light class. Now, something else that I think is very important, and this isn't probably as important as the first point, but it is not far off it if I'm going to be honest. I really hope that they can add some sort of solo queue function for any players who don't regularly play with friends or teammates. Now, I know a lot of people are just going to say, well, just go and get some friends or make some friends online and, play with friends so that you don't have to be 1v3ing a bunch of teams. I do get that, but it isn't that simple. I've got plenty of friends that will play this game with me, but it is not that easy to get everyone on at the same time. I'm a pretty busy dude as well, for example, so it's not like I can just jump on as soon as someone says, hey, jump on and play the finals. And it is much the same for a lot of the other people that I play with. A lot of people that I do play with are also content creators. They're very busy, and so it's pretty damn hard to just always be playing this game with friends. And on top of that, I think people should just be able to play by themselves if they want to. So my idea for this is to add just a solo queue where no matter which mode you're loading into, you can choose to either do a solo queue, meaning you can only load into that game by yourself. You can't be in a party with any friends. And that means that anyone in those lobbies is only by themselves. Obviously, you'll get put into teams, but this just means you won't come up against any genuine 3-stacks where they're in a Discord call and they're full on strategizing while you're just trying to run around, you know, play the objective as best as you can with your teammates, but it's just kind of a bit of an unfair advantage. So that is something I would love to see. Then obviously just have the regular modes where you can queue into that with your 3-stack or whatever you want to do. You can even queue into that solo if you want to. It's just the solo queue function is the only one that allows you to only join if you are by yourself. I think this is very important for ranked, because obviously if I'm playing ranked and I just want to try and play by myself, there is borderline no point because everyone else in that lobby is going to be in a 3-stack. And so it's essentially 3v3, v3, v1, and a bunch of randoms. That's not very fun for me or the people on my team either. And so I think just having a solo queue function kind of fixes that. It doesn't really hurt anyone in the process. You can obviously still play with friends and it doesn't affect anyone who can regularly play with friends. But for those of us who can't, or for those who just simply don't want to, then at least that option would be there. Now, the next thing on the list, and these are all kind of getting into the more nitpicky stuff, and I think that says a lot about this game, the fact that I've had to kind of reach for a few of these things. That shows that the game is in a very good state. But these ones are definitely more on the nitpicky side, and this one is to do with the teammate footsteps, and in my opinion, they are way too loud. I would love for them to tone down the teammate footsteps just a little bit so that you can obviously still hear your teammates' footsteps, but the enemy footsteps are much louder, just so that you can kind of differentiate and, I guess, try to sound whore, as we all call it, to listen to those footsteps and try and get a better understanding of where the enemies are. That being said, I don't know if this one is actually done on purpose, just so that you can't really pinpoint where the enemies are. If there's you and your teammates running around a building and there's also enemies in there, maybe they've done this on purpose just to make it a bit more chaotic. I'm not too sure. If that is the case, that's completely fine. At the end of the day, this is not game breaking. It is just something that I think would probably benefit the game, but like I said, it's not do or die by any means. Now, the next one on the list is, once again, another nitpicky one, and this is just some slightly better customization. Now, I will say the customization in this game is freaking awesome. I love the aesthetic. I love a bunch of the skins and stuff. They're all really solid. The aesthetic and the tone overall is really good. More what I'm talking about is to do with the personal customization, in terms of I would love to be able to equip beards, having a few more hairstyles, a few more character faces, for example. It's only a few areas there where I think it is a little bit let down. The other areas in terms of the skins and essentially everything that they're selling, that is all completely fine, and that was always going to be the case because obviously that's where they're making their money. But I think they could have definitely done a slightly better job when it comes to having a few more character model options, as well as stuff like being able to choose your skin tone, and even, like I said earlier, having beards and stuff like that. Those are just these small things that I really wish they would have done a little bit better, and it's obviously not too late to add that down the line. Now, last but not least for this video, this one is definitely very nitpicky, and there's a bit of controversy around this, but this is to do with the AI voice actors. Now, for those of you who didn't know, because to be honest, the AI voice actors in this game are actually insanely good.
Here we go. The high notes, the shock and awe, and finally, the steamrollers. The stage is set. It's showtime.
But the two announcers in this game, the male who pretty much introduces the game, and then there is a female voice actor as well, or AI voice actor, I should say.
Are you seeing this, Scotty? Our first elimination. This could set the pace for the rest of the match.
Well, they are AI. They are not actual real voice actors. And obviously with all that's gone on over the last, I don't know, 3 to 6 months now, with the strikes in Hollywood and all that kind of thing, even down to a lot of layoffs in the gaming industry as well, I think this is a little bit rough for them to have pretty much skipped out on getting actual voice actors, and instead they've gone with AI. Now, I want to straight up say I'm not outraged by this. I don't really care personally, because I think firstly the AI is completely fine in this game, and secondly it's a free game as well, so they had no idea how much money they were going to make or anything like that. And on top of that, it's not like the AI technically stole anyone's job, because that job was never made available to anyone in the first place. So I do get there's a lot of outrage around that. I'm not personally outraged by it. I definitely would prefer to have actual voice actors, just for the sake of, give someone a job, give someone a bit of money. I think it's always good to be able to help out in that way. But like I said, I'm not so much outraged by it like a lot of the community is. With that being said though, now that the game is clearly going to be very successful, it had 7.5 million people play the beta. It is also a free game, so pretty much like the majority of those people, or at least the people who enjoyed it, they are going to be downloading the game now that it content is out, and I dare say a lot of them are going to be buying the battle pass and some skins and stuff like that, this game is going to make a lot of money. And I think now that they probably know that, it would be great to kind of go back and actually hire some proper voice actors. You don't have to get the most expensive in the industry. You can get two people who are completely new and they're just trying to make their way in the gaming industry or something. But I do think that they probably should have read the room a little bit, just with everything that's gone on this year. All the stuff with the strikes and, like I said, the layoffs in the gaming industry, and they've just gone and essentially cut out two jobs that they could have given to people. That is probably something that they should have looked at a little bit better, in my opinion. So, like I said, I'm not outraged by it. If they never change it, I'm not going to be kicking up a stink about it. But, for example, if they were to replace the AI with actual voice actors, I think that would just kind of be a good deed by the company in a way, and I think it would be one of those things that removes any drama from the game. It is pretty much the only drama that I've seen around this game, and although, like I said, I'm not outraged, I can kind of see why some people are not very happy about it at all. So kind of fixing that issue is just a good thing for the game and the community in general. I think any way to remove drama is always a good thing, no matter what game it is. But anyway, guys, those are some things I would love to see changed in the finals. Like I said, despite all of these, I am still very much loving the game. This is not meant to be a negative video. It is essentially me just giving a bit of feedback. And like I said, hopefully a dev sees this and can pass this on to the team. So be sure to hit that like button and even leave a comment and stuff to help boost this video in the algorithm and essentially increase the odds of that happening. The more feedback they can take on board, the better the game will end up being. And I think that is what we all want at the end of the day. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there in the arena.